Okay, I do take the opportunity to welcome everybody in today's lesson. The class I'm going to talk to, it is primary. The class I'm going to talk to is none other than P3, and the subject is literacy 1. In today's lesson, the name of the teacher is Teacher Didas, and that's my name. Today we are going to look at vectors. That is what we are going to look at in our lesson today. Let me go on, and I tell you that our today's lesson is on vectors, and I know this word may not be new to you. I have my contacts here, whereby you can reach me anytime you feel like you want any assistance from me. Let's go straight. However, as we begin the lesson, I would like to tell you that this lesson is live on YouTube. That is Christian Schools Owners Association. That's the search you can put, and you'll find all the videos that may of the lessons that you may have missed. So when you reach there, watch the videos, and don't fail to attempt the work on Google Classroom. As you attempt the work on Google Classroom, also don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. As I've earlier told you, that today we are going to look at something. We are looking at something not new, as I've said. For sure it is not new to us, because we are going to have a look at vectors. When you look at vectors in today's lesson, these are the expectations. This is what we expect each and everybody to know. This is what I expect my learners to know within today's lesson. Okay, the first one, since we are looking at vectors, the learners must be in position to know what vectors are. So by the end of the lesson, everybody here must be in position to define what are vectors. Then too, we should also be in position to give the examples of vectors, mainly the common ones, the common vectors together, not the every vector, but the common ones in our society, or in our community, in our sub-county, in our division, and others. Then we should also be in position to know the diseases spread by some common vectors. Okay, so in today's lesson, we should be in position to define what vectors are, examples of vectors, then the diseases spread by some common vectors. That's what we're going to look at. There are only not very many, just 3. 1, we should define what vectors are, we should give examples of vectors, and we should be able to identify some diseases which are which are spread by vectors. So let's go and begin on with our today's lesson, vectors. Okay, what are vectors? What are vectors? So when we talk about vectors, we talk about I may call them organisms, I may call them animals, I may call them insects that spread diseases. Anything that spread a disease is what you call a what? A vector. As long as something is able to spread a disease from one place to another, that one becomes a what? A vector. It can be bird, it can be an animal, an insect, anything that spreads a disease from one place to another is what we call a vector. Let's go on and look at our definition. Vectors are living organisms which carry germs. Okay? Vectors are living organisms which carry germs. Okay? Vectors are living organisms. Okay? Vectors are living organisms which carry germs. So these living organisms carry germs. They carry them from one place to another, and it is from those places that we find them and we get the what? The diseases. Are together? So anything that carries germs from one place to another is what we call a what? A vector. I've said it can be an animal, it can be an insect, they may be birds, as long as something is a living organism and has the ability to carry germs from one place to another. That's what we call vectors. So finally, we can read together and define: vectors are living organisms which carry germs. They are also called disease carriers. Okay, they are also called disease carriers. They can move. They are called disease carriers because we do expect that they take a disease from one place to another. So as I've earlier told you that the vectors can also be called disease carriers. They carry disease from one place to another. When they carry germs from one place to another, they also bring what you call what? A disease. I never wanted to define, but when these vectors carry germs from one place to another, they are the germs that cause disease to us. Are together? So that's why we can term the vectors as disease carriers. Someone will be asking, teacher, do they bring a disease and they carry it on their way? No. They carry germs from one place to another, from one living thing to another living thing, from a non-living thing to another living thing. Then after reaching there, we shall get the disease. Now, let's move on. I want us to look at some disease vectors. Okay? I want us to look at some disease what? Vectors. The examples: 1, I've got a female Anopheles mosquito, which is there. Then I've got ticks. Okay, and you can have a look at that one. This is a female Anopheles mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquito feeds on blood, so it is sucking blood from someone's body using a feature, and that feature is called proboscis. So it uses the proboscis to suck blood from us, and that blood, it is how it spreads germs from one place to another. Okay, I have the tick. You can have a look at the tick. It's there. But before we look at the tick, let's first look at this one. When the female Anopheles mosquito sucks blood from an infected person to another, it carries germs, and those germs are the ones that cause what? Malaria. Therefore, we can say that the female Anopheles mosquito spreads malaria to people. How does it spread malaria to people? It carries germs that cause malaria from one person to another through sucking blood from one person to another. So we have got different types of mosquitoes. We have got a male Anopheles and a female Anopheles. The female Anopheles sucks blood. That's how it is able to spread malaria, but a male one feeds on plant juice. Therefore, we cannot get malaria by the aid of the male Anopheles. Let's look at the ticks. The ticks are so common in animals, but once the tick comes from an animal and it comes to us, then that tick is likely to spread a disease, and that disease can be called relapsing pink fever, and in some books it can be called typhus fever. Okay, so the ticks also suck blood. Let's look at another one. I have got another one, a fresh water snail. This fresh water snail, it will spread a disease, and that disease is none other than bilharziasis. I have another one here. That one is called a black fly. It can also be called a ginger fly. It can also be called a slime fly. It spreads a disease called river blindness, and I've told you that a water snail spreads a disease called bilharziasis. Bilharziasis. Okay, we are looking at vectors. Altogether, we are looking at a water snail, as you can see it there. This one can be water snail, it can again be a garden snail, but a fresh water snail is the one which is well known for spreading what we call bilharziasis. Now, there is something interesting about the black fly. The black fly lays its eggs on fast flowing water. When the water is running, it sits there and lays its eggs there. Okay, so they can ask you a question: which vector lays its eggs on fast flowing water? The answer becomes a black fly, or it can be called a ginger fly. Ginger as in ginger, G-I-N-G-N-J-A, ginger fly, or a black fly. I've said a disease, it spreads a disease called the river blindness. From the word river, as in river, R-I-V-E-R, then blindness. Okay, it attacks the eyes. Let's look next. Next, I have got that one. Okay, it's there. Its name is called a fly. Okay, a fly. This fly, it spreads a disease called sleeping sickness to us people, and it spreads another disease called nagana to animals. So flies are so common to animals, but they can also come to us people. So when a fly comes, it will also suck blood, and by sucking blood, you are likely to get a disease called sleeping sickness. All the time you are there dozing. Even now, I'm dozing in class. I know you have some friends at home. He's eating, but he's dozing. The teacher is teaching on the chalkboard, or on the whiteboard, on the board, but again the teacher is dozing also. So you may find that teacher may have suffered from river blindness, from sleeping sickness, when he doesn't know. I have another one. My friend is there. This is a friend called the cockroach. Cockroach is there. This cockroach here, it is so common in places which are dark, and it spreads very many diseases ranging from diarrhea, dysentery, typhoid, polio, altogether. So such diseases are spread by a cockroach. Okay, so these cockroaches bring germs that cause those diseases, and I put them in our food somewhere, then for us to just come and eat them. So it's advisable that we always cover our leftover food and leave the plates and other things clean. You have there, that is Mr. Housefly. We all know the Mr. Housefly. The housefly spreads diseases like the ones you know. Mention them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go. It spreads a disease called trachoma, and trachoma affects our eyes. It spreads another disease called diarrhea. It spreads another disease called dysentery, typhoid. Together. So all those diseases are gotten, or they can be eased by living in a dirty place. The only way to prevent yourself from houseflies is maintaining sanitation. Now, let's look at just a review of the diseases and the disease they spread. Okay, the first one, I have the side of vectors and I have the side of the disease the vector spreads. The first one is the female Anopheles mosquito, and we all agreed that the disease it will bring to us is called malaria. Others read it as malaria. Okay, the female Anopheles mosquito spreads a disease called malaria. We have got another disease, another vector. It is the Culex mosquito, and this Culex mosquito spreads a disease called elephantiasis. Can we go on, read it together? Elephant. From the word elephant, elephantiasis. Okay. Then we have got another mosquito. It's called the tiger or the Aedes mosquito, and it brings what we call the yellow fever. Okay. Then we have got the lice. Yes, these organisms always stay in the head, sometimes in the hair, and they spread a disease called typhus fever. Then we have got the ticks. The ticks spread the relapsing fever. Then the water snails, I've said they bring what we call bilharziasis. This is just a review of what I've been talking about. Okay, I have another one. Others, they are still there. I have got the side of the vector and the side of the disease. Let's look here. We have the rat fleas. The rat fleas spread a disease called bubonic plague. Okay, it's called bubonic plague. Plague like that. Then we have another one, the black fly or the ginger fly. I've told you that it brings a disease called, it spreads a disease called river blindness. The sese fly, I've said the sese fly brings a disease called sleeping sickness, or it can be called trypanosomiasis. Okay, I have got a cockroach, and the cockroach brings the disease like cholera, dysentery, diarrhea, and typhoid. Then I have other vectors, they are still there. A housefly. A housefly brings like trachoma, I said it affects the eyes, cholera, dysentery, diarrhea, and typhoid. Okay, so those are the some of the diseases that are spread by a housefly. Okay, here we go. I have my questions. They are review questions. The first one: define the term vectors. What are vectors? 2. Why is a female anopheles mosquito called a vector? 3. Identify the disease spread by the following vectors. 1. Sassafly. 2. Housefly. 3. Rat fleas. Then, lastly, which vector lays its eggs on fast flowing water? Okay, I talked about them in the lesson. If you want to know the answers for the above questions, you have to go back and watch the video, and even I've put a quiz on our Google Classroom. I would like to say thank you for watching our lesson today. It has been a great pleasure learning with you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you are watching this lesson from, and also attempt the work on Google Classroom, which is indicated there in the description. In the description there is a link which is directing you to the Google Classroom. So I would like to say thank you till we meet again. Bye bye.